Hey guys, how's it going? It is Drake. Today I want to talk about something kind of important to Sony. For the last couple of years, Sony have put out some of the best first-party games available to any of us. God of War, Last of Us, Uncharted, Detroit, etc, etc. Even games coming from different studios that aren't in their wheelhouse, so Bloodborne for example, or even Demon's Souls from Bluepoint on the PlayStation 5. One interesting area that Sony isn't really attacking is the first-person shooter genre. Sony did this for a number of years when it came to Resistance from Insomniac Games, or Guerrilla making Killzone, the Halo killer. Since then, they've really not done all that much. Resistance in its timeline sold about 10 million units, which for context is the same as Last of Us in the PlayStation 3 lifecycle. You can see why then that it wouldn't make a ton of sense for Sony to keep funding Insomniac, who they bought for 230 million, to keep making Resistance when they could just make Ratchet & Clank and Spider-Man. The same goes for Guerrilla. They came out with Horizon, it's significantly more polished and just a better all-round game, and provides more for Sony as well for a mascot for the platform instead of the Killzone soldier. So today I want to talk about why and what Sony can do next. Funnily enough, this problem isn't actually all that new to Sony. They're overly familiar with it. In fact, during the PlayStation 4 lifecycle, they tried to solve it by buying up two of the most popular franchises in the world. Number one was Call of Duty, a game that had a ton of support on the Xbox 360, and it was a really big deal when they started to get exclusive rights to it in the PlayStation 4 lifecycle. The other was Destiny, a then brand new game from Activision and the guys at Bungie. It was a big deal that Sony got a ton of exclusivity to this game. You can see in a roundabout way how this is Sony trying to solve that lack of a first-party kind of big shooter on their platform, making it out like this is the only place to play these games. Oddly enough, most players don't think like that. Most players are more than happy to play these games in various places, even if they do miss out on little trinkets here or there that aren't always that important. It is one thing to say this is the best place to play Destiny or Call of Duty. It's another thing entirely to say and be able to say this is the only place to play this game, whatever it may be, a God of War, a Spider-Man, or Uncharted, etc, etc. This all stems from, and I want your guys' opinion on this, it all stems from my opinion, which is it is really important for a manufacturer like Sony or Nintendo or Xbox to have a great first party, or even a game only exclusive to that system and it's only available there, right? When you look at Sony, you can look at racing and they've got Gran Turismo. You look at third-person action games, they've got Last of Us and Horizon, Infamous, or now Ghost of Tsushima from that studio, Ratchet and Clank. You think of adventure games, you've basically got Quantic Dream doing their thing over and over again. And yeah, when you look at fighting, there's no real exclusivity going on in fighting, to the best of my knowledge, which is limited when it comes to fighting games. But Street Fighter and Tekken, it's always seemed like PlayStation is the place to be. They aren't that's not a big genre the same way a shooter is. So how do Sony tackle this honestly enormous problem? Personally, I think there's two areas to it. Number one, they need to figure out what the game is. That's really easy. A lot of people think that's the hard bit. That's really easy to do. A few studios will go through iterative cycles. They'll test things out, they'll get things greenlit, and they'll move on from there. The harder side of things is an area where I want your input on. Who do they go to make this game? For me personally, I think there's three candidates: Sony Bend, Ready at Dawn, and Bluepoint. All of them have got various reasons and a different horse in the race as to why they could be making the next first-person shooter. Sony Bend is probably the most interesting because for years what has happened is they would make first-party games and they would make these spin-offs. With Resistance they made Burning Skies, with Uncharted they made Golden Abyss, and then it's almost like they paid their dues. So Sony said, here you go, here's the keys to the castle, you get to make your own game. They made Days Gone. The same thing happened with Ready at Dawn. Even though it's not a Sony-owned studio, they made God of War Chains of Olympus, Ghosts of Sparta, and then they got the go-ahead to make The Order 1886. The standout here is Bluepoint. They've simply done great work for Sony over the years, and Sony do not own them. Most recently, I would have said Sony Bend is the most likely candidate, but it's rumored that they're working on the next Uncharted game, because likelihood is that Naughty Dog simply don't want to work on it. Ready at Dawn are working on a game called Lone Echo, and they're releasing Lone Echo 2 this year. It seems like they've just scaled things down. They're working on VR games, and they're doing exceptionally well doing it. They've kind of got their confidence back making really good games. Like Lone Echo is a legitimately good game. So it'd be interesting if Sony went back to that watering hole and said, hey look, Order 1886 wasn't ideal. Do you want another crack at it with your great tech? I think they've got like the RAD engine or the RAM engine or something like that. It's a really good engine. The Order 1886 still holds up to this day as a game. Visually, go look it up on YouTube. Like, even just 1080p footage, that game still holds up with something like The Last of Us Part 2. Like, it looks incredible, and it came out in like 2015. So that studio, in my mind, should get another shot at it. The last one, obviously, as I mentioned, is Bluepoint. It's a strange one, I know. They make remasters. They most recently came out with Demon's Souls. The fact is, these guys understand, just from working over the last 5, 6, 7 years on remasters, they understand the DNA of what makes a really good game. So it'd be really interesting if they were the people to go forward and make this next first-person shooter. Personally, for me, and I will end on this note, I would love Resistance to make a comeback. I know it's cliche to want old games back, but it was one of the best games I played when I got my PlayStation 3. Fall of Man was so unique to me at the time. Everything was a World War II shooter, and this was an alternative history with aliens. It was incredible. I would personally love to see Bluepoint maybe make a remaster of that game, and then Ready at Dawn make another game. Completely brand new IP. Sony have apparently got 25 in the mix right now, so we will see closer to the time. But when it comes down to it, I want to know what you guys think. Who's making it? What are they making? Thank you very much for watching, guys. I appreciate it. If you could subscribe, and if you enjoyed the video, feel free to drop it a like. If you disliked it, again, dislike it and tell me why. And I'll see you in the next one.